Happy Monday. Happy Monday evening, enlightened women. Welcome to Mondays in the Meditation Room with Dr. K for Midlife Musings, where you will find all things enlightenment and empowerment for Black women in midlife. And it's open to all women, but our calling and assignment is to come alongside the sisters and encourage and empower and enlighten and strengthen you on this journey in this amazing rite of passage called midlife. And or if you are experiencing any place or part of the continuum of our reproductive health as women, and known as perimenopause or menopause or your postmenopausal, any of those spaces along the continuum, we're here to enlighten and encourage you to redefine this season in your life. Not just a crisis. It's not an illness, right? That's not disease. It is a intentional portion of our life. It's not our whole life, and it's certainly not the end of our life, right? So we are reimagining and redefining and owning this season and making it what it can be and what it should be for women, right? And of course, as I'm starting to record, I look up and my Mac is like, low battery. Can't have that. Give me a second. I'm so glad I've grown that this doesn't stress me or cause me to trip out. Something I would normally check before starting, but didn't. Be right back. Enjoy the meditation room theme song. All right, so now that is taken care of. So we're back and we can move forward. Hey, whether you are joining live, hey, y'all, hey, or you're watching the replay, welcome to Mondays in the Meditation Room with Dr. K for Midlife Musings. We are right in the middle, well, actually, I would say almost the end, because can you believe it, y'all? This is the first Monday in November. We are headed quickly to the end of 2023. Wow. So we are moving full steam ahead in our radical reset conversations that we've been having for the last couple of months. And now that we're in November, we're talking about the radical body reset. We talked about our mind, we talked about our spirits, and now we're talking about our bodies. And we defined a radical reset, or reset as it were, is the freedom to refocus again on those things that are most important to you and your purpose, allowing yourself permission, the freedom. I just love that word, right? Uninhibited, unencumbered, right? Nothing preventing us from walking in our own agency and stopping and recalibrating, realigning, aligning our attention and energy once again on those things that are important to us and that matter to us and that matter to our purpose. And here's the thing, don't get too stressed out even about that word purpose, because your purpose can change, have different iterations, right, as you go through life. And the thing that you gave your attention to and your focus on one season of your life may not be what you give your attention to, focus, energy, creativity to later on in your life. You have always those same underlying values that undergird your purpose, your existence, your decisions, your right, what you do. Hey, cousin. And so, your values will pretty much stay the same. Those things that drive you. And you also need to take some time to figure out what your values are. What are those things that are important to you? What are your non negotiables, right? Those things are pretty much the same. It determines how you govern, how you show up in the world, how you interact with other people, and what you expect, and the boundaries and standards that you set for your life. But your purpose, or what it might look like, can change from one season to a next. So don't get caught up in thinking you have to find some one grand passion and purpose that you have, and that's all you do all your life. Now, somebody that might be true, but for most of us, we have to give ourselves permission to adjust where our passions are, that align with our giftings and our purposes for that season. And so that's why we're talking about resetting, because in midlife, this is a crucial time where we can reset. In other words, have the freedom to focus again, right, on those things that matter, right? First of all, to our creator, and to our purpose in that season in our lives, and right, what matters to us. So, yeah, we are having radical reset conversations about those things that are important to us. And right now, I'm excited. We're talking about our body, from mind to spirit to body, right? In December, um, I'm believing we're going to talk about our financial well being, what wealth means to us, and what that looks like for us, especially going into a new year, and especially as women in midlife, because life changes. We have to make sure we are planning and thinking about things that we didn't have to think about or plan for prior to this season of our lives. And so, um, the knight in shining armor is not common. You have family and you have friends and professionals that can help you look at your life and determine what you need for your life, right? Because sometimes we compartmentalize too much, but even our finances is a part of our well being. If nothing else stresses us out more than something happening with our bodies, a health crisis is what's happening with our money. Ooh wee. All right, so I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on that. We'll talk about that next month as we close out our radical reset conversations. So today, we're just going to spend a few moments um, on radical body reset, and I want to set a foundation before we get into the practical protocols of the things that we can and should be doing with our bodies in this season of our lives. And our late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. Lord, I gotta tell you, not only did I not really have any conversation about midlife and menopause, perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, all of that, didn't really have conversations about what we should be doing to take care of our bodies, right? At every stage and season of our lives, so that when we get here, we're not completely shocked, stuck, right? And behind the eight ball, and having done the things that we needed to do to allow us to continue to move forward. Because here's the thing, this one really got me, in some of my readings and studying and articles and research and all of that, is that maturing and aging gracefully does not have to mean sickness or disease or diminished quality of life. We have accepted that as a way of life, but the truth is that is not a given. That is not something we need to just settle for. Right? I mean, there are places in areas of the world called blue zones where there are people living to well over 100 years old, but they're not living it in a state of disease or sickness or frailty diminished. They are walking walking straight up. They are still doing things in their yards and their gardens, and enjoying life, mind sharp. And so we, I think, in America, in the Americas, the Northern America, have really kind of accepted, like, oh yeah, once you get older, you lose your faculties and your ability to be healthy and to move well, to live independently, taking care of your own self, all of that, that aging and menopause is like a disease or a closed the casket kind of um, not want to say premonition, but a prophecy or prophetic word has been spoken over us that just get ready to be sick, get ready to have this ailment and that ailment, and taking this medicine and that medicine, and not being able to do this and not being able to do that, that we've almost created sickness. And this rite of passage into midlife and menopause is not a disease and not a sickness. It is a normal process of life and living. And we need to change the narrative and switch that up, that this can absolutely be a continuation of the most optimal, healthy season of our lives. There's some things we can turn around, there's some things we can change. There are things that we can do. And it's really about education and knowing. A lot of it is just a lack of knowledge. A lot of it is just taking it as status quo. And that just, right. Because it's like something we should just expect to be frail and sick and weak and not have our right mind. Let's Not only are we decolonizing, destigmatizing, and normalizing this conversation around midlife and menopause and post perimenopause and postmenopausal life, we also need to take responsibility and have a revolution about our health. What we do now can make a difference on how I want to be able to walk standing up straight, right? I want to be able to get up and sit down, right? I want to be able to have some functionality in my life as I get older. And so we need to change the narrative that this is somehow some kind of disease or sickness just because we're getting older. We get to choose and decide our quality of life by what we think, what we say, and what we do. So let's flip the script, that this season is not a season that we go sit in a rocking chair and somebody got mashed up our food, and that's all we have to hope for. Ooh, mm. Somebody say nope, not. Mm-mm. So let's begin to expect something different and then do different so that we can manifest that different way of being as we get older. Yes, yes, and yes. So, very quickly, because I'm learning how to manage my body and still know that my body is cyclical, and there are times when I need to let it be and rest and feed it, right? And pay attention to your body when you're feeling, maybe a little um, um, wanting to go inward. You ever have those parts and seasons in your cycle where you're feeling more introverted, even if you're extrovert, or you're ambidextrous in your vertedness. You might be both, and depending on the situation and the circumstance. But sometimes cyclically, a lot of us don't acknowledge that there are seasons when, or moments, weeks or a few days out of the month, that we tend to want a little bit more peace and quiet. We turn inward, right? We're more um, introspective, and you have to respect that and let yourself be in those moments. And I'm feeling like that in this season. So I have to pay attention to that and give myself a little bit more time to wind down for the day and rest right? Learning how to listen, right? So, for just a little while longer, we're talking about radical body reset. Man, we could talk about this for a whole year. First, let me say I'm patting my back, I'm celebrating, giving myself a round of applause. I completed my menopause coaching specialist certification. Woo, 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 waiting to get my certification, my certificate in the mail, and I'm so excited to share. Man, I'm telling you, this season makes so much more sense to me because I have been empowered with knowledge about our bodies and what's going on with them during this season. Oh man, woo, can't wait. But before we get into all of that, I wanted us to lay a foundation at the beginning of the month before we talk about our thank you, before we really talk about the nuts and bolts and practical things about what's going on with our bodies, how we can align with our bodies and help our bodies to manage this season and be healthy in it. I want us to ask ourselves a few things because I entitled tonight, My Body, My Power, Thriving in Our Midlife Bodies, because we just have to deal with that. We're in our midlife bodies and we're talking about taking care of ourselves. And I'm not saying we're trying to return back to 25 because that's not going to happen. So we need to disabuse ourselves of those thoughts. We're not trying to be 25 again. We're trying to be a good, healthy, and optimal living woman in our 50s or 40s, 50s or 60s or even above, right? So, when we're talking about my body, my power, we're reminding ourselves that we are our best advocates because we should know our bodies the most. We should step into our own agency and not just take a doctor's word for it, physician's word for it about what's going on with us, right? Thriving in our midlife bodies. Yeah. All right. So this is my question. Um, right? Yes, I'm trying to live in the skin I am. Absolutely. This is my first question for all of us. What is your relationship with your body? I know we don't usually ask that. It's like, what's your relationship with your significant other, your husband, your boo? What's your relationship with your children or your parents or your co-workers or your friends? What and how about we ask ourselves, what is our relationship with our body? Whether you think about it or not, whether you articulate it or not, subconsciously, you have a relationship with your body. And it shows by how you treat it and how you talk about it. Mm. Do you have an intimate relationship with your body? Do you know it? Have you stood in the mirror and take a look at it? Not to judge it, but to become acquainted with. Like, do you know whether you have a mole on here? Do you know if you have a birthmark on your face? Do you know what is happening so that when something different is happening, you know the difference, right? Have you taken a good look at every part of you? Do you have an intimate relationship with your body? Because here's the thing, as women, we've been so body conscious because we've been taught to be so body conscious because we've been taught that if our bodies don't look a certain way, then there's something wrong with it. We've been judged by our bodies. We've been counted worthy or unworthy by our bodies. And as women of color, and in particular Black women, as descendants of the former enslaved persons, our bodies were treated as property, as chattel, as even reduced to being like animals. Our bodies as women were treated as breeding grounds to bring in um, children for the enrichment of the slavers, right? So we have a history of being disconnected from our bodies. If you suffered any abuse or any trauma or any traumatic illnesses or anything like that, then you may have a separate kind of out of body experience. You're not really in tune, because a lot of women psychologically distance themselves from their bodies to try to deal with any pain or abuse or uh, trauma that happened to their bodies. And so, and then if you're in church, we've been taught to be ashamed of it, that it's evil because it tempts men. And and for us as Black women, often we began to mature early, right? And so we were still girls, but then not allowed to be girls because we were, objects of ogling or being touched or, being graded or judged by our bodies. And it created a very unhealthy relationship with our bodies. And so sometimes we have to be healed from all of that trauma that we may have experienced as young girls, right? And then at the start of our menarche or our menses, or when our cycle came on, we were not celebrated. It wasn't celebrated. It was seen as something shameful or dirty or scary. And our parents were, or our mothers or grandmothers who were especially sometimes now nervous because now we could get pregnant. And so we had this whole kind of craziness going on around our bodies. We weren't taught to celebrate that as normal, right? And we were always in fear of coming on while we were in school, or messing up our clothes, or leaking through. It was all this kind of fear around it, not comfort about our bodies, not celebrating them, right? And so we have to ask ourselves, what is our relationship with our body? Is it intimate? Do you know it? Were you busy trying to cover up because maybe you developed quicker and you got attention that you didn't want to have, right? Were you always trying to hide your breasts, or were you develop, or were you always trying to get them doing those exercise? I must increase my bust, right? We were relegated to that as our bodies, but we are reclaiming our bodies and removing shame or guilt and creating freedom around it, right? We were told that, if we dressed a certain way, it was our fault if something negative happened to us or was said to us. And so we're always taking on responsibility for men's behavior based on our bodies. And that's just ridiculous. And so we have to release all of that. Are you estranged from your body? You don't even look in the mirror. You hurry up, get in the shower, get out of the shower, put your clothes on, do all of that. Don't take time to appreciate and nurture it. And as we said, are you full of shame and or guilt? Is there a love hate going on with you and your body? Right? What is your body story, your body narrative? Did you get called names because of your body, right? Were you ignored because of your body? What is your body story? Were you sickly? Did you have to deal with any illnesses when you were growing up? What was your body story? Did you have to have surgery, or were you strong and athletic? Did you run track, play softball, out there? Were you a good dancer? Did you love to dance? What is your body story? Because it follows you all the way up into where you are right now. Right? Did you struggle with your body image? What was it? You have your own unique story about your body. Did you feel like it was violated? Where were you? Do you need to be healed? Do you need to reclaim and re-own your body as your own? Because it in fact is your own. And I'm not talking about your relationship with God. That's a given for us in this space. All right. We don't have to get all deep and spooky about that and have caveats. We are already known that we have a creator who created us. I'm talking about as you are in this body, in the earth, it belongs to you. You have boundaries, and it's good for us to teach girls boundaries, that nobody has a right to touch your hair, touch your body, definitely your private parts. You have the right to say no. You have the right to scream, and we have the right to encourage and empower our girls to tell us, and they can be believed, right? What is your body story? What is going on with your body right now? Woo, that's a whole nother story, right? We're going to talk about that more in the coming weeks about what's going on. But just on the surface for right now, are you paying attention to what's happening? And we need to know, getting older and our bodies maturing is not the same necessarily as what's going on with our bodies for menopause, because we don't want to blame everything on menopause, because it might be something going on that we really need to get checked out. And some things happen just as a consequence of us getting older, and then there might be some things going on that we need to get checked out, right? And so what is your body story? Take some time, don't rush it. Get quiet, take out a journal, and say, how did I feel about my body when I really first became in tune with it and what it could do, right? What what did I think about it? What was I told about it? What did I believe about it? Right? And what is the story I'm telling myself right now? What am I saying to myself? Am I looking in the mirror with disgust? Am I frustrated? Am I never satisfied with the way my body looks and feels? Right? Because you do know all of that is a cycle. If you continue to have a perception that you are unhealthy, or you don't like it, or you want to lose weight, or you want to gain weight, or you don't like your butt, or you don't like your boobs, or you don't like your arms, or you don't, some stuff, as we get to this age, we're not going to reverse. We're going to have to learn how to love it and honor it. You get bat wings like I do, right? Uh, unexpectedly lost a lot of weight, and still trying to figure out what caused it and all of that, but it has left stuff hanging and jiggling. And, I had to get over that and decide, because, some of us wear stuff to hide our bodies right now. Now, as a former fashion merchandising major who loves fashion and loves clothes, there definitely are things that look better on our body types, right? That look good on us, and we learn how to wear it and all of that. I'm not saying just do any old kind of thing, but I'm saying don't be so ashamed of things you cannot change, that is a part of your badge of honor as to where you are in this season of life, where you just find the freedom to wear your arms out, right? Show your legs, or whatever you don't do. If you don't like the way your toes look, whatever, that don't keep you from getting a pedicure and wearing your sandals and being all right. It is what it is, right? Right? But where is your story for you even right now? Right? So that's number one, right? We get ready to close out for the afternoon, for the evening. But one is, what is your relationship with your body? Take some time. And I love it that we're in this season where things are slowing down, right? We're on our way into the winter season, which is a season of rest, right? And the season prior to that is preparing us for the rest by allowing us to release certain things, like the leaves are falling off of the trees. We're getting to a place where we're quieting down, and we want to, hibernate, almost, for lack of a better term. Use this more quiet, slowed down season to get in touch with yourself and with your body. Number two is acknowledge that no matter what you think about it, or what you have thought about it, or what you've been through, or what you're going through right now, your body is a sacred vessel. Because unless you need to go back and watch some of the broadcasts about our spirit, Our spirit is the real us. Our spirit that dwells on the inside of us, right? That is that connection to our creator, God, that divine part of us, right? Dwells on the inside. So our body is the vessel, the carrier of our spirit. So we have to remember that our body is a sacred vessel. Wow, because it houses your spirit. Just take a moment with the reality of that, that with all of the things you may have said, things that are going on with your body and all of that keeps us so distracted sometimes that we can't focus on our spirit, that then helps us know how to appreciate and take care of our bodies. Your body is a sacred vessel because it is the house for your spirit. And here's the thing, God created your body, your true image, and we are made in the image of God. Our spirit is made in the image of God because God is spirit. But God gave us a body to house that spirit, to carry that spirit, right? So, if nothing else, and you can't think of anything else, and you are struggling with where you are, call yourself, your body sacred. Woo! And God did some magnificent things creating this body. It is intentional and intelligent. Woo! I had to repent and ask God for forgiveness for not taking care of this sacred vessel that houses my spirit. Because we can't manifest our purpose, our power, any of that. We can't do the work we're called to do. We can't enjoy our life and our relationships, our friendships, our joy. We can't do anything if our sacred vessel is not able to do it. And God already created it um, intentionally and intelligently. Y'all know you're not standing here, sitting there, lying down, wherever you are watching this or listening. You don't have to say beat heart, beat, beat heart, beat. When you eat, you don't have to say, okay, now go down my esophagus. Now go down to the stomach. Okay, now juices work together to digest my food. No, our body is intentional and intelligent. Like like you cut yourself and injure yourself and your body begins to heal itself, and before you know it, it has scabbed over to protect the healing process that's going on, and sometimes it leaves a scar and sometimes it don't. Y'all, if you've ever had surgery and they cut you open and then your body starts putting itself back together. Woo! Y'all, come on. Our blood is flowing through our vessels on its own. Our heart is pumping, it's using the oxygen. Y'all, the muscles are doing what they do. Me moving my arm, and sometimes I do it subconsciously. I talk and I preach with my hands, but the brain and the synapses and all of that that's firing when in a nanosecond I think I want to do this, my body sends signals to my hands and my fingers to do that. But I don't even know how it does it, but it does it. Y'all, come on. Your body is intentional and intelligent to operate without you telling it what to do. The things that are most important that your organs and stuff are created to do, they're created to do. God created it and created a divine supernatural ecosystem inside your body. When you get hot, you sweat to cool down. Come on, y'all. So we have to learn how to start acknowledging this sacred vessel and the intentionality that God put in it for it to operate, and that it is intelligent. Whew, right? So, what is your relationship with your body? One, two, acknowledge, shift your perception for all the stuff that happened in question one. When you get down to your body story and your narrative, no matter what it was, we come to the truth of number two. It's a sacred vessel. And the enemy has allowed us to ignore it and not take care of it in the manner that we should have. And now, be clear, this is not about shame or guilt or any of that, because many of us have to deal with things that we never thought we'd have to deal with. When if your body is dealing with cancer and you've had to have breast removed or cervix or uterus removed, or you end up dealing with fibroids and had to go in and they had to get it out, and all of those things that are specific to us as women, or dealing with fertility or fertility issues. All of that is a whole nother special and specific kind of conversation. I'm talking about in general right now. And the thing is, what we think about our bodies, even when we deal with those things as well, we still have to think about our body as a sacred vessel so that it will do what God intended it to do, to heal or for you to manage it. Man, that's good. And thirdly, as we prepare to close, is to respect, honor, consecrate her. So you have to be mindful of what you're thinking about your body, because your body will respond to what you think of it and what you say. Right? Your brain is wired to manifest because you are made and created in the image of God. So you are inherently creative. So your brain will create whatever thoughts you have in it and what you reinforce by your words. So we have to learn to respect and honor and consecrate, because all of the stuff that I wanted to do and had set up to do before, and I told you I want to start with the body reset, the Holy Spirit said, we need to do it in order. You need to deal with your mind, you need to deal with your spirit, because any change or transformation that you and I are endeavoring to do is not going to be successful if your mind and spirit is not right, and if you don't see your body as sacred, and if we don't respect it, honor, or consecrate it. So the shift will happen when we shift. And the things that we try to do and we can't stick with, or it's so hard, we have to deal with our mind and our words and our perception. So before we go into the practical education and know-hows and steps and things that we can do to align ourselves to be as healthy and optimal as we need to be in this season, we have to start here. Respect, honor, consecrate, thank this body, right? Mind, your thoughts, and your talk. Woo! Then you will have a sacred assignment and motivation to do what it takes for her to operate optimally. Whew, that's all I got for tonight, y'all. That's good, right? That's a great place to start before we get into the mechanics of our bodies. My body, my power, thriving in our midlife bodies. I hope this has helped you, and I hope it will continue to help you as we move forward in our radical reset conversations with our focus on radical body reset. My body, my power, thriving in our midlife bodies. But it starts here. What's your relationship with your body? What is your body story? Where do you need to be healed and released and let? Because your body remembers. Ooh, can I tell you? That's going into some of our other days, but your body remembers. And so we have to give it the ability to shift, to release, to let go, all of the above. It's a sacred vessel, y'all, intentionally created and intelligent. So let's respect her, honor her, consecrate her, and thank her. Woo! Love it. This is our sacred assignment, y'all. And it's our motivation to do what it takes for us to live optimally where we are. Whether we need to heal in this moment, get quiet and let our body do what it do, or we need to make some more radical changes. But we're doing it all together. You're not on this journey alone. We're in this together as the Enlightened Woman Tribe. Thank y'all for joining me on tonight for Mondays in the Meditation Room with Dr. K for Midlife Musings. Invite a sister, bring her with you into the room, and have a peaceful, restful night on tonight. And I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Right? Love y'all. Bye.